expectation, because that's very key. And I know Shegun is my oga. He's the one that brought me here, so technically he's my oga. Um, so I would probably need your to see some expectations on the chat box, or if you want to come off mute for about not another 10 minutes, where we could just get everybody's expectations, and then I can take the class from that point. I know most of us might have heard about product management for quite a number of years right now. So I'm sure that those of us that join this class, we are very special people, right? We want to, and special in the sense that we must have gone online to check what project man or product management, sorry about that, is all about, right? So if that's the case, let me see some expectations as regards this. Nobody's putting anything on the chat box. Don't worry, don't let my looks scare you. I'm a very humble person, so I don't. No matter what the case is, I try to pick everybody from the point at which they are in, right? And I am sure that this is a mixed class, judging by the various people that are on the call, right? I'm seeing Ahmed. I'm seeing Ahmed. Let me see the chat box. John Aze, very corporately dressed. Ahmed, corporately dressed. Kazim, corporately dressed. And then we have Okoro. We have Femi. That's a familiar name. We have Femi. We have Belumi. Okay. All right. Then I have Victoria. Right. I have Wura. Right. All right. So it would be great if we have the expectations. Okay.
Yeah, we
So
have expectation in the chat.
right, I can see some of them now. Yes. So Palumi says transitioning from product operations to project manager role. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, John Easy says, I hope to understand if there's any like a roadmap to building career in product management. Of course there is. Of course there is. All right. Um, I've been mixing up technical project manager with product manager management, and I'm learning it's different. Yes, absolutely, they're different. Okay. One of my expectations is that Victoria, still Victoria. Okay, good. One of my expectations is to know the exact work of a product manager. All right, and then if it is compulsory to pass through product design. Okay, all right, okay. Then can I be a software developer and a product manager? Justice. Okay, that's interesting. Of course you can. Of course you can. Okay, so um, okay, PR you mean public relations, right? Um, who is that? Gunju. Okay, is that what you mean? Yes. Let me see. Okay, all right. Okay, so you can transition from anywhere actually. So the training, bootcamp, and product management. So Baba Jide, okay. Uga. So we have some experts in the house. We're already talking about cross-functional teams, which is good. Which is good. Francis says managing school management software. Okay. Okay. So are you seeing the school management software as a product or as a solution? Right. Let's discuss that. Um, Chimdi says pursue product management as a career. Okay. 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 Babajide says he just wants to listen and learn and do internship. Okay. Interesting. I want to understand quick hacks to grow. I told you that man was a senior man. Quick hacks to growth as a product manager, career path, certifications. Okay. Okay. I'm still looking through. Okay, so I think we have. So I'm just reading through almost everybody. So I just want to be sure. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I think Francis, yes. Okay, as a solution. Okay, all right. Please confirm if I'm audible, please, by the show of an emoji, your favorite emoji as Shegun. What do I call you here? Do I call you my Oga or I call you Shegun? Which one?
Please call me Shegun.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So, all right. So that's good. All right. So basically, right, the essence for this masterclass is just to bring you up to speed as regards what it entails, right? And we'll be doing a lot of interactive sessions. You could drop it in the chat if you feel free, you're not shy. You could go off mute and then stop me anywhere where you need clarity or where you need conversations on, right? As Shegun rightly introduced, started the career from actually software development, right? From having that experience, trying to work my way up the ladder, then I discovered that, well, there are better things and better ways you can interpret the customer's need to suit a solution rather than just being at the back end and hearing somebody gives you a requirement that in your head you're looking at it that would this requirement add value, right? And that's one of the things that we'll be looking at. For your own understanding, it's very important that you know that what you are doing as product manager is to add value to to the business or to the entity of choice, right? And various interactions, various collaborations, various communications will be along those lines, right? It will be along those lines, right? I'll share the slides. Um, I'll share the slides in a bit, but I just want us to have like a proper discussion, right? Just to clear and what they call it now, um, break the ice, as the case might be, right? So from being a developer to being a system analyst, then from system analyst to being an application consultant, and then from application consultant down to business analysis work stream, right? And I had quite a bit of number of years along those lines. And it's important that one of the key skills for you to be able to thrive is also business analysis because it helps you, it broadens your knowledge and the respective um, terms that you would learn along the lines, right? It broadens your knowledge in those areas. The necessary tools and techniques that you will need is also aligned with what they call it now, with product management, right? So And that's why I actually went into business analysis. And then from business analysis, I then went into core training in business analysis, not just business analysis, even SQL, because I had a bit of background in that. SQL, that's database administration and things like that. Just because I was coming to this point where I now become the product manager, where I have that experience within the IT space, right? And it would help align my thoughts into, first of all, understanding what the needs of the customer is, right? And then what value realization that the customer will want from each engagement, right? And that's key. You can't take away those things, right? And I'm sure that most of you right now, you're looking at it and I'm like, oh, did I, where did I miss it? How come I didn't get to start off with business analysis? No, it doesn't work that way, right? I already knew where I was going to, and that's because there's something. Somebody asked the question saying, "Is there a roadmap?" Yes, absolutely. So if I do a Google search now, roadmap for, you could do it on your own. Roadmap for product management, right? Once you do that, you will see quite a bit of information, and you'll be amazed at how charts have already been drawn. All right, charts have already been drawn out by experts before before this time, and they have already mapped it out in such a way that is easily attainable, right? So you do a Google search now, the roadmap for product management, you will see all these things that I'm talking about, right? So that being said, it's product management is different from project management because as simple, let me be as simple as possible, right? Uh, Product manages projects and the product, the solution that you're delivering. Project, however, delivers a particular service or a particular project. Now, project can be anything, could be a process, could be people, could be a solution, could be a business process re-engineering, it could be a business optimization, as the case might be, right? So all of these things are in there, and I'm speaking at the top of my head so that you know that I'm not reading from any slide, right? Because it's important that you understand these concepts, right? There are roadmaps. So for every phase or for every phase of IT, there are roadmaps that helps you. Now, one of the key things that you also need to know is data analysis. Data analysis is one of the key things that you also need to know because you'll be dealing with a lot of data, right? And you are speaking to numbers, market insights, and things like that. You are understanding it from what exactly is needed from the customer's um, perspective. So you're doing a whole lot of techniques, right? Solution evaluation in cases where the solution has already been deployed already, right? If it is a process optimization, this process has already been developed or mapped out already, and for your understanding of what the process is all about, the knowledge area for that particular project or process is very important. So all of these things are needed, and if by this time you don't have all of those things, not to worry. There are thousands and thousands of of materials, learning institutes that could help you bring you up to speed in these areas. Gone are the days where I used to read books that were 1,000 pages long, right? Where just because I wanted to understand what Windows operating system is. And I'm sure that those of you that that already use Windows 11 and things like that, you'd be like, why would I want to go and read 1,000 pages books just because I want to understand what an operating system is? Yes, that's the time that I was in, where for SQL database administration, I had to read voluminous books to be able to understand the concept of what database is all about, right? And things like that. I'm sure the software developer in our midst then, if he's of that age, there were a lot of materials that he had to Google to be able to understand even what how to use JavaScript or how to use HTML, or as in those days for SharePoint and things like that, you're using ASP.NET and things like that. You have to read a whole lot of materials and articles that are online and things like that. So, but it, we are in the age of AI, and we are in the age of quick knowledge and things like that. People are, Shegun has a fantastic channel where he talks about product management and things like that, where for create a community of people that want to learn about product management, and he's affecting that space, and every content that comes in from his own channel, right, brings value to every person that comes into that. Same if you go online now, product management channels, you see a whole lot. So saying you don't have the material, there's no more excuse because of the advent of the internet and things like that. There's no more excuse for anyone. The same number of time that you used to spend. Somebody wants to say something? Somebody wants to say something? Emmanuel, do you want to say something? Emmanuel, you want to say something? Okay. Okay, I do. Emmanuel, are you here? Okay, he is muted. All right. So that being said, I'm going to stop all these gists so that you understand that all of this information are accessible. Okay, are accessible to you on the internet, right? Now, the key thing here is, since there are a vast number of materials, how do we then know which one to pick, right? And along as simple as, so, Google helps you to suggest your suggestions for you. I use that so that you can understand when you're trying to suggest what you're looking for, it gives you a suggestion for you, right? And it helps you. So just by Googling what does product management entail on Google, you see vast number of information that can help you. But I would recommend that you do a formal training like something like this to help guide your search, right? So that you know what to look for, right? Right. Somebody also said that the difference he wants to is coming from product operations and wants to move into product management. The only difference here is that you are playing the managerial role. You are playing the managerial role here in the sense that you are leading a group of individuals that are creating products. That's the only difference, right? You're leading a group of people who um, you already understand the vision of of the product that you want to build, right? And when we get into the slides, you will see how I carefully outlined leadership and management, right? So that you can understand both of these concepts, right? The most important thing for a product manager is to understand what the vision is. Vision just as it simply means the idea that wants to be developed. What is the idea that needs to be developed? What is the concept? What is the solution? What is the product that want that you need to bring to life, right? Every product starts from an idea. And as a product manager, your ability to be able to understand what the vision of the customer is would help you determine what the product of choice is. Also, it will help you to be able to understand what the value that the customer will derive. It would help you to be able to understand that part. Emmanuel, please go ahead. Emmanuel, you raised your hand. Okay. Okay, is Emmanuel just testing out all the is he testing out all the tools on Google Meet or something? Anyway, okay. All right. So don't please don't laugh.
Okay, I guess I might
Sometimes
just have to use the admin control. Maybe I should use the admin control. So if anybody has anything to say, might just use the chats
no,
or
it's fine.
just
It's
raise
fine.
hand if we need.
Okay, yeah. So that being said, let's get into the session for today. Um, Up until now, have I been able to answer some of our expectations as regards so that
Oh, you're muted now. I have to uh moderation. Yes, you can unmute yourself now, sir.
okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right. So Femi, you want to say something? Go ahead, please.
Sorry, I was muted. I wanted to signify that I was muted, or you were muted as well. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Femi. Um, I've been in sessions where Femi is another guru, but he is in the network space, right? So just I'm sure he wanted to just let me know that he's here. So, all right. So that being said, let me go into my session. All right. So I'm trying as much as possible not to bore people. So I just have 8 slides here, or rather 7 of them. So I'll be as quick as possible. I will get out of your space, and then we can have further conversations going forward. Right. So give me 1 second while I share my screen. Okay. Please confirm if you can see my screen. I won't be able to see your emojis, so somebody should please help me say you can see it because
Yeah,
I'm
we can
actually
see.
Yes, we can.
okay. Good, good. Okay, so yeah, product management. So on the chat box, please, can somebody just type in? Don't go on Google. Please don't go on Google. What you think product management is about? So what you think product? Let me go back to uh, the chat box. What do you think product management is about? Anybody? Anybody? What do you think product management is about? Francis, do you want to give it a go? Okay, so Victoria says The intersection between business, technology, and user experience. Absolutely. You're right. Justice. Okay, so we have management of products. Okay, that depends on what the product is about, right? Yeah, well, you could say it that way, right? Building a great product and features for customer satisfaction. Okay, all right. Life cycle of a product. Rafiat, are you a developer? Are you a developer? Because it's developers that speak about life cycles where they're talking about products and solutions and things like that. Are you a developer? Chimdi says um, using ideas and innovation to solve customers' problem. Absolutely, absolutely. Managing the life cycle. John Eze too. Develop. See, you see that it's only developers that actually use life cycle as a definition or as it were, or maybe somebody that wants to go into development. Okay, so life cycle of product from the moment of when the idea is first gotten to when its product is released. This looks like a Google response, which is fine. Femi says delivering value to stakeholders via great product and services. Absolutely. Absolutely. Product is the process of building a product. I try not to use product again when you're defining, right? Okay, so from ideation, this looks. I've seen this. I've seen this response before. Some people are going to Chat GPT uh, to bring out some of these answers. Okay, so ensuring solutions meet. And thank you very much. As far as all the answers, not really. Okay, okay, okay. Prior knowledge of it. Okay, okay. As far as the answers are, is the most important part of the product manager is to ensure that the product or services, right, or product management or the solution or the idea with meets up with the value that it's going to bring from the customer's perspective, right? So, in other words, anything that doesn't bring value to the customers is of no use to the organization or to the business. So, and that's what will help you when you're doing your prioritizing, right? Because I must say, and no offense to customers out there, but customers don't really know what they want. And you are the one responsible for bringing that to light. You are responsible for bringing, letting the customer understand what he actually needs, even though he gives you an idea. But because of the various techniques and the terms and tools that you have at your purview, you can then use that to be able to come up your um, with your solution to the customer. Okay, so you must be solution or customer centric when you are a product manager. That's one of the key um, values that you have to abide by. Being customer centric, being customer centric. It's important. Okay. That being said, um, so let me share my screen again. So all right. So a product manager is responsible for guiding development and success of the product by defining its vision, strategy, right? And features, ensuring it meets the customer's needs and the business goals, right? That's most important. Very, very important. Very, very important. Every solution that you are going to be building has to come from that perspective. If you do not understand the business goal, right? There's a document, right, that speaks to that, right? For every organization, for every um, business, you must have a business case or a vision or a business documentation or solution documentation, or they call it business requirement document in some cases. That's in business analysis. You being able to carefully itemize what the need is, right? Vis-a-vis with your business goals. For every organization, there's no organization that is created today that doesn't have a business goal. Anyone that doesn't have is already set up for failure already, right? Is already set up for failure already. Okay. So that being said, your first duty as a product manager is to be able to understand what the business goal, what the vision of this particular project that you are about to embark upon. Okay. See it as this, right? You are being called to play the role of a product manager um, in a consulting firm, right? What's the business goal? And the product that you're about to build is meeting up with a customer's need, right? That's the goal of the business. That's the goal of the business. Do we agree? The goal of the business is to meet with the customer's need. So, as the ideal thing for you as a product manager that's being called upon to play a role, your first research has to come from what the goal is. What the goal is. Once you understand what the goal, so developers have to understand what the requirement is. However, you as the product manager needs to understand what the goal is, the end result. What's the end result? And I'll show you some materials that could help you see it in those lights. If you miss it from the inception, which is understanding the vision and the goal, the objective of that particular product that you're building, right? So imagine if the makers of WhatsApp says that the goal of WhatsApp is to, how do I say it now? Let me look for something that is not what WhatsApp does. It's for engineering work. Everybody that has been using WhatsApp, or rather whoever built WhatsApp, has failed. If this solution is to be able to manage the construction work, being able to list it out in a certain perspective, right? It has failed because the goal of WhatsApp is for collaboration, primarily for collaboration. And that's why every feature that they add for every feature that they add into this tool or this product, as it were, has to do with collaboration. That's the goal. How do we collaborate? How do we get people from different regions and locations to be able to talk to themselves or collaborate with one another? And being so now the new feature that came out, which is sharing your screen, things like that. Those features, having a channel on your own Instagram, on your WhatsApp, all right, there's a goal behind it, right? And that's why even though some of us say, oh, why do we need a channel? It's too much information on one tool. They are looking at the overall need of the business, right? The business is to ensure that we are getting people to be able to collaborate in whatsoever way possible, sending out information, sending out letting people know your current status, right? And that's what they call it. And that's why they make it very easy for you to be able to understand charts, right? Status, right? Views, okay? And channels. Then how to share your screen, like I'm sharing my screen now, all right? It's important that you understand the objective of the product that you're dealing dealing with, right? Let's look at some of the key responsibilities of a product manager. Like I have been saying from from the inception of this session, I said you must be able to define what the vision is. Okay, so let's do a quick check. What is a vision? How do you define vision? Right? Well, how do you define a vision? Is vision the actionable steps? No. Goals are the actionable steps. All right. So vision is connecting people all around the world through a single medium. That's a vision. And that's a vision. I don't know whether it's the same as WhatsApp, anyways, but just bear with me, right? So that's a vision, connecting people all around the world through a single medium. Right? That could be a vision for WhatsApp, right? And if you want to indulge yourself with that insight, you could go on Google. What's the vision of WhatsApp? Right? So and things like that. Then strategy is just understanding where you are currently, your as is, where you are currently. What tools am I using for this connection? I don't have any tool. Okay, how do I move? Then understanding where you are currently and then where you want to be. That's your to be, right? Understanding your as is and your to be. Understanding those two concepts. Now, how do you reach these points, right? A straight line. How do you reach these 2 points? All right. How do you move from point A, which is your as is, to point B, which is your to be? Right. So there you do something called a gap analysis. Gap analysis. So gap analysis is understanding the current state and the future state, and what is the bridge that will bring me to that point. So, example, I don't have a tool to be able to connect with people all around the world that from a single point. Okay, first things first, I need to purchase the tool that will enable me connect with people all around the world, right? Then after connecting it, who are the various people that are using tools to connect? Do you understand? So I'm having market insights. I am looking at who my competitors are within that space of connecting with people. Who are those competitors? Then I'm looking at those things, understanding the market insight. Who are my customers? Who are the people that need to be able to connect? Itemize this. Back in the days, when I was working for a company called Global Foresight Vantage, they used to have like a board where they list out all companies that need their product, all companies that need their solution that they are selling. That's a way to go. You are understanding where your target audience is. It's very key. Oh, we are still in strategy. Okay, understanding the gaps is what I'm talking about between your current state of not having a tool. The case study that we are looking at here is a tool that will connect with people in diverse locations through a single point. All right, and then after doing that, you have a bit of insight to what those competitors are doing that you're about to do or that you are already doing, right? And once you do this, you can list all of those things into your product documentation, right? Understanding the market area, the market terrain, right? Then once that is done, you can then move to, okay, who are the key resources that would enable me to be able to get these things, these features? Who are my stakeholders? What are the certain feature requirements that I need to have? What are the systems requirements that I need to have to be able to deploy such a solution that will connect people around the world? What are the dependencies? Do you see how I'm doing it? From one point to the other, I'm bridging the gap. That's what gap analysis is doing. Being able to look at it from those 2 points and aiming towards the goal, which is to be that single point, all right, to connect people all around the world from a single tool, right? And once you get all this, who are the resources, the stakeholders, the solution resources, right? Resources can be either people, systems, all right, or process. Hope you know that. If you know that, let me see your emojis, even though I can't see it literally. But for the sake of my Oga that is monitoring, he can see that, right? It's important, right? And then once you do all of this strategy work, put it into a documentation and meet with your product owners and your sponsors, then you can agree of whether these things are feasible or are feasible with cost, the cost implication to be able to acquire these things, the man hour, the man process. Do we have enough time? You're looking at time as well. As in, thank God for the advent of Agile. Thank God for the advent of Agile that we can create solutions in piecemeals, right? Thank God. So imagine if we all had to wait for WhatsApp to get to this point before we started using WhatsApp. Nobody will even know what WhatsApp is. I can bet it with you. But because they are applying the Agile approach where it allows for continuous improvement and continuous integration, they are improving upon these things over and over and over again based on your feedbacks. Have you seen where they'll say, when we make a phone call with WhatsApp and it tells you, rate this your call, and then you say fair or not fair or bad, very bad, and things like that. What you are doing that you do not know is that you are feeding into their data collection at the back end to help them further improve on their processes that they are put in place. All right? Having a feedback mechanism cannot be overemphasized when you're building a product. So in those days, we used to send out surveys, documentations where you send out, okay, did you like our service or did you like our trainings? Kindly let us know if there are any areas of improvement and things like that, right? So those are all the things. That's what now everybody has it on their mobile phones, and we just do the click of a button. Or when you're ordering an Uber now, for instance, you order an Uber and you just do, oh, yeah, the driver tells you, oh, give me 5-star. And then you be like, because he asked for 5-star, I'll give him 3. Do you understand? But if he was actually a good driver, you would give him 5 without even him speaking about it. Do you understand? So that's the essence of strategy, right? And then the features, right? Not having it properly spelled out is very key. That's why you see that when you enter CIO's offices, you see a white box, or a whiteboard rather. You see a whiteboard on his wall. What he's doing is, okay, which feature do I need? And that's if he's looking at the product now, right? And he's not looking at the numbers. Please, for those of you that are close to CIOs, that you say, is the only product he's looking at? No, it's not the only product he's looking at. He's looking at way different other things, right? That's cut across, right? So it's important that you know that features are also important. And how do you collate these things, right? And I'll be sharing some tools that are not in my slides, but I'll share. I'll just from the top of my head, we'll look at all the tools that are available to you that you can use to be able to actualize some of these things. Okay, and trust me, it's power pack. Okay, so then after collating all of this information, right, understanding what the vision is, the idea that you want to bring to life, the idea, that's what the vision is, idea that you want to bring to bring into existence, right? For those of us that are um, Christians, right? You know, ideas rule the world. Is out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That's what the Bible or the good book says, right? So, for people that are Muslims, I'm sure you have some of those kind of quotations in your Quran too, as well, right? Because bringing it into materialization, understanding it from where the current state is to taking it to the future state, which is the strategy. And then after you understand what it entails to be able to get this product out, then you now start listing out what the features are. All right, and we'll look at it from the standpoint of people. So let me be quick to move on to trying to save time. Okay,
Yes,
so
your slide is not moving, sir. So I guess you are sharing just a single screen.
okay, I've not left this screen. I don't know. It's
Okay.
I've not
But I
left
think
this.
someone was raising hand earlier. That
Okay, so who
was
was raising hands, please?
No, I already dropped it. I wanted to call your attention that this presentation is not moving.
Are you seeing the full screen, or are you seeing what are you seeing?
We are seeing the PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint.
Okay,
All
okay. So let me
yeah.
stop and reshare. Just give me 1 second. Maybe give me 1 second. Let me quickly correct that. Um, okay, can you see the full screen now? Shagun, please, can you just
Yes. Mm-hmm.
you can see the full screen
No, like full screen, is it the only like presentation mode or the entire Microsoft?
input presentation mode is what I'm saying.
no, no,
No.
no.
You are seeing it in the editable version.
Yes, yes. So can you hover your mouse on your screen? Let's see if we are actually on the same screen. Are you hovering? We
Yes,
can't
I
see.
am.
We can't see your mouse. So are you present? Okay, I can see it now. So are you
You can,
presenting at one screen or you are presenting a full window?
I was presenting a full window before now. So let me present the full window. Can you see the full window now?
Yeah, we can still see the same screen though.
Okay. Okay. Let me do. Let me
Maybe you can
do.
try it from this screen that we are seeing, like on the toolbar, or is it menu bar?
Okay.
That slideshow.
So I think what is happening. Hold on 1 second. What is happening is it's not. It's picking something. Can you see my mouse?
Yes, we can.
So
Yes, we
can you
can.
see that I'm clicking on the slideshow? Can you see that?
We won't be able to have access to further things that you do.
Okay. So let me. This is what I'm going to do. So I'll just share my entire screen. Maybe there's
Okay.
lag
Exactly.
on. Yeah. Just 1 second, please. Okay. So can you let me know what you're seeing, please? Okay. You can see my entire screen, right? Yes. Can you see my entire screen?
Yes, we can see a screen
Okay.
now.
So
Yes, we
let me
can.
just. So now you should be
Oh
able to
yeah,
see the full
perfect now.
screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just speaking
Yes.
to. I was on point two where I was about to go to point two where um, that lag came from. So, all right. So very quickly, prioritizing development tasks. How do you prioritize? It's very important that you understand that it's a system that, or there's a system to prioritizing. there's a system to prioritizing. You can't. Okay, so there's a system to prioritizing. There's something called Moscow, Moscow, Moscow or Moscow. That's a tool, a way of prioritizing, right? Must have, should have, could have, or would have, or won't have. So, and that's a system or a way of prioritizing. There are other ways, but that's the most effective as far as I'm concerned. What are the features that must be done? What are the features that should be done, but it's not really important, right? You being able to identify these categories will help you speak to the customer, and these things cannot be done only by you. It's not your responsibility as the product manager to say, "Oh, I'll prioritize as I deem fit." That's where a lot of people make mistakes from. The prioritization must come from the engagements and workshops that you have with your stakeholders, right? Those are stakeholders, and we'll talk about stakeholders in a bit, right? Then, thirdly, collaborating with cross-functional teams. Cross-functional teams vary depending on the type of product that you are going to build. They vary from the type of product that you want to build. If you are building a product for machinery, or you're building a product, since we are all in the IT space, that's an assumption anyways. But those of us that want to move from wherever space that we are in into that IT space, right? For every product that you want to build, right, there is a functional team that does the job. So how do you identify these teams? There are people that teams that are called subject matter experts. Subject matter experts. The subject matter experts can be either domain subject matter experts or implementation subject matter experts. I repeat that again. Domain subject matter experts or implementation subject matter experts. And this varies within different methodologies that are there. In Scrum, all right, in Scrum, you only see, in business analysis, you only see things like what I'm talking about. In Scrum, you see SAMEs, right, subject matter experts, because it cuts across the entire workspace. But business analysis likes to differentiate both. But in product management, those things also apply, right? Because your domain subject matter expert could be business domain, development domain, and things like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? It's important that you know that in those domains, there are people that are specialists. So when you want to gather requirements, for instance, and you are engaging or collaborating with your stakeholders that come from the business, right? You're not going to be talking with a technical person, a developer. No, you'll be talking with people that are within the business, that understand the processes that are within the business, because that will enable you have a broader picture of what that department or the organization does if we're into consulting, right? And it's important that you know that if you bring the right stakeholders on board, you can't miss it with the requirements. If you bring the right stakeholders on board, you can't miss it with the requirements. The respective functional teams cuts across your developers, your testers, all right, your business analyst, your product manager, your business domain subject matter expert, end users. End users are the customers. People, no, sorry. End users are the people working on the application or the solution that you are developing or the product that you're developing. All right. Then the customers themselves. All these perspectives are required for you to be able to build an interface within these cross-functional teams. Right? Your understanding of those cross-functional teams enable you to be able to come up with the right product. What is your definition of done? What is the definition of done for? And it has to cut across all these stakeholders that I have mentioned a few minutes ago. And so imagine if you why a lot of products or projects linger is because they do not have the right stakeholders, and when stakeholders come in abruptly, it extends the time and the duration. In project management focuses on the managing of the resources, managing of the project, and managing of time as well. It being in time. But for the product manager, it's value too. So you are going to be doing a lot of value realization exercises, right? What's your BIA? Business impact analysis. Do you understand? You are doing all of these things put together. It's important that you understand who the respective teams are, as it were. Okay? Then I'm sure some of you are looking at it that how many things have I said now? And I'm going I'm speaking to all of these things, right? Yeah. That's why this is a master class. The main session, you need to go for training for those ones. All right. But I'm bringing all these things to you to make you understand the possibilities that are made. I'm trying as much as possible not to be technical. Please, if I'm technical, please let me know so that I can stop. Okay, because I understand the different demography of this particular session that I am in, and I don't want to entice some and make others feel less important. So please bear with me. All right. Then overseeing project implementation. Overseeing project. Sorry, I said I was not going to be long. I've just spent about 30 minutes in this now, so I'm trying to speed up. So overseeing project implementation is key. The product manager ensures that the project manager now keeps to time. The methodology has already been set. Agile, right? Agile. The product managers support agile implementations because you can't fully build a solution from start to finish in a single trial. The light that we have today was done 999 times before this light, the idea and the concept of this bulb came into being. Right? Thomas Edison, and those of you that are science students, right? So it's important that you understand that you must first of all identify what the approach is going to be from that perspective, and that also happens when you are doing your strategy. Okay, very quickly. So on overseeing the project implementation, you are not playing the autocratic style of leadership. You are playing the leadership that involves, right? I'm trying to look for a better word, but servant leader type of relationship. What you're doing is ensuring that everybody is maximizing their input and their output within the product life cycle, as the case might be, right? Then being able to validate the product. Validation, right, is different from verification. Validating that you are getting, that's when I talked about what's your definition of being done. How do you identify what are the critical success factors that needs to be set in place for you to be able to know that this solution or this product meets with the customer's need. All right. Then ensuring a successful product launch. So Are you doing sensitization? You know, a lot of people don't put that into the plan. Are you doing testing? Are you doing testing on live environment and testing on the test servers, right? You know, because you have to plan all of these things, and that's why you need someone like the enterprise architecture or architect rather, right, where it would help you be able to understand these various other things that might not necessarily be spelled out in your product backlog, right? And trust me, if I mention any term, you can ask me about it anytime. You can, when I'm done with this session, we can have that conversation. Just pen down your comments, please. Right? Okay. So being able to understand what is the custom, what is the type of product, what is the product that you are building, being able to validate it with the product requirements that you have gathered, the tasks and the work breakdown structures that you have done from the developers down to the requirements, the time frame, and then you being able to understand that, okay, after this product has been developed, is it meeting the needs of the customer? All right, you need to be able to cut, and there are systems, there are templates. The validation doesn't, it comes up within workshops majorly to be able to validate. After gathering the requirements, you validate the requirement. After developing the product designs, you validate the product designs. After developing the product itself, you validate the product itself. Okay, so it's in stages, right? Then ensure that you have a successful product launch. Your sensitization, ensuring that everybody within the organization know that this product is in existence. Your customers know that this product is in existence, and they understand what the value and benefits that they would acquire from just by using this solution. It's those documentations needs to be in place after the product has been, or before the product has been done, so that at least when the product is done and dusted, you could just maybe do some minor adjustments to the maybe the new implementations that or enhancements to the product that was done. You could just enhance that document and share it out with your customers. How do you reach out to your customers? How do you communicate? At what time frame do you communicate these things? Right? You need an expert there to be able to help collaborate with your customers as well. So they call some people, I'm trying to remember the word now, customer success in some organizations. Yes, that's what they are called. Customer success. Their job primarily is to ensure that these products that you are bringing in, that's where you see they run POCs, right? Proof of concept. They run proof of concepts for organizations for 3 months, and so that they can test out whether it's actually adding value, right? And some people do those POCs for free. Some organizations do it cost effective. Do you understand? So those are ways that you could ensure that you have a successful launch. You know, I'm using WhatsApp because WhatsApp is the most common tool right now in today's world. One of the most, let me not say most common, anyways. So there's Facebook and all those other things, right? So those are products. Instagram, products. All right? And they are meeting certain needs of the customers to the extent that it's even taking our inner being, that some of us can't even do without Instagram today. That, okay, when you wake up, before you read your Bible, you first of all pull up what's going on in the world today. Some of us don't watch news anymore. Some of us go and just okay, and what they call it, Instablog. Sorry, I'm not, I don't follow these trends. But anyways, I have a knowledge of them, right? Instablog and all of these things, Gist Lover and things like that. Okay, what is going on in the world of gossip? What's going on in the world of news? What's going on in the world of some of us don't even go to church anymore and mosques. We just go and listen to one of our favorite pastors and let him preach, and we stay in our houses and things like that. What ensuring that the product launch is important. All right. So then how do you now monitor your performance? Now, this is very key. Remember when I was talking about critical success factors? When I was talking about those things, is because those things will serve as your KPIs going forward. Once you identify what the critical success factor is, I want to be able to collaborate with all my users via this platform. I'm using the case study that we talked about earlier. I want to be able, that's one of the critical success factors. So I'm putting that in my KPI, the ability to be able to collaborate with all my customers via or users via this platform. My ability to be able to being able to post my adverts on my status, being able to do video conferencing with my customers, things like that. Those are so that it's beyond the feature now. It's now focusing and tailored to being able to clearly speak to my customers without any hassles, without any network breach or breaks, as the case might be. Right? Then, as a product manager, you are the one responsible for advocating the customer's need. You're the one responsible to be able to say, okay, this is what the customer needs. You are telling the business analyst, or rather, you and the business analyst are working hand in hand to tell the other stakeholders that this is the expectations of the customer. Okay? All right. So next, does anybody have any questions as regards what the key responsibilities? There are other responsibilities of a product manager, right? Somebody is exhaling. Is that too much information? Okay. If that's is that too much information, who just sighed, please? Yes, Babajide, yes. All right. Okay. So let's first of all look at let's do one more slide, okay? Because I know that a lot of you are looking at me and saying, okay, Oga, I'm not here for let me just try to be. All right, so let me do something that might interest you. Okay, so let's look at that. Next slide is, how do you know if it is for you? How do you know product management is for you? All right, and just take 1 minute to look at all of the tiles that I have here. Problem solving, empathy for customers, strong communication, strategic thinking, decision making, teamwork, adaptability, data analysis, right? User-centered focus, or or user-centric, right? Ownership, curiosity, tolerance for ambiguity, leadership, and practical experience. So if these are for you, if this is you, this is a description of your feature, let me see that by a show of the emoji. Let me see that. If this describes you perfectly, let me see. If this describes you perfectly, are we on the call, please? Okay, Ahmed, good. Okay, Balumi, Femi. If does this describe you, right? If it does, absolutely you're on the right path for product management. So you love when you see you want to solve a problem, when somebody comes to you with an idea and then you're thinking already, how can I solve this idea, or how can I bring this person's idea into reality? Customers are complaining that, oh, maybe my GT app, sorry, or GT back, if anybody here, or let me use Polaris anyway, so that it won't look like as if I'm supporting Okay, so my Polaris account app is not working properly. How do I, as in we need to, maybe they should do something about it, right? And then you being able to communicate your ideas strongly, right? Remember what I talked about strategic thinking, being able to understand your current state, doing some and your future state, your to be and your as is, and then doing a gap analysis. Yes, if you like taking decisions, making decisions, working with team members, then product management is for you. If you know how to adapt to any organization, I'm sure if I was to ask, how many organizations, for those of us that are on the call, how many organizations have you worked in that are different from each other? So, for instance, I started with as at that time, I started with being very early in my career. I started with being a database administrator and in a church. Understanding database administrator, trust me, the church is, they run as it like a bank. So it's gone at the days where churches just run it anyhow. So they run as the bank, and I was a database administrator for the church at the time. You know, being able to understand database as it concerns the church is needed. Then moved into database as a core function in a bank. You know, I didn't work in a bank, but I was doing some consulting work for the bank. You know, it's important how do you feel when you see data analysis being broken down or data being broken down into various points and entities and what have you? You know, how do you feel? Are you just wowed by it, or you want to know how to do it? If you're thinking about, okay, somebody comes with, like, how would this benefit a customer? How would this benefit a user? A lot of developers don't think about how the user will use it. They just feel, oh, I'm just going to develop a solution that will be used anyhow. And that's why you see some solutions being poorly designed. Right? Poorly designed, because they don't care if it takes you 100 years to be able to get to where you want to get to, as long as it works. You know, being able to have that user-centered focus on when you're building, it means that product management is on the line for you. You see that I didn't mention anything that had to do with technical here, even apart from data analysis. But these things are important, right? You owning up for creating a solution. I'm sure if I go on to your handles now and see that you are marketing one product or the other for someone, you know, taking ownership for the marketing space, right? Do you get? Then you being able to find out and search for information as you go along, right? Is important. Okay. All right. That is very, very important. So this is how you know if you have some product management skills inside of you, right? For many years, I was working as a business analyst till somebody said, everything you are doing as a business analyst, a product manager does it. And I'm like, yet a business analyst works for a product manager. You see the drift? So I looked at it and said, okay, let me go into the space of being a product manager. All right. And I've worked as a project manager before, and it's completely different from what we have as a product manager. Completely different. You are dealing with ideas, visions of the customer and bringing it into existence through a product. Through a product. Okay? Very quickly. All right? Leadership and management requirements for product managers. Leadership and management requirements. Your leadership requirement here, you must set the vision, make it clear. And for those of us, I'm a Christian, so pardon me if I quote some scriptures. Even God says, write it down, make it plain. That's what God says. So if God, the owner of the world, is saying that for you to be able to succeed as a product manager, you must be clear at your vision. You must be clear on what you stand to achieve. Then understanding the influence, the people that this vision is going to affect, the people that will work with me to be able to bring this vision into materialization, right? Then understanding the users and the respective teams that needs this particular product. You being able to, your empathy skills is very important. Your influence, your visionary focus, your influence on the respective teams that you are going to be working with, being able to collaborate with them without having to force them to do what they do is a skill set that you have to have. Having to understand, being a user and being a technical person are two different things. Because I built a solution doesn't mean I know how to use it well. Do you understand? Because I built a solution doesn't mean I know how to use it well. The users are the ones interfacing with the solution or the product as it were, and you have to put them into consideration. If you look at websites, applications, products, most of the important information are always on the left because users read from left to right. It's only people that are maybe people that are Arabic or Aramaic, they read from right to left. So if you are building a solution for Muslims now, I'm not saying you should do that, but anyways, but do you understand? You want to build something for them. You build, those of them that understand Arabic, they know they can read from right to left, right? But the ideal way is from left to right. And that's why you see most of the important information is on the left. That's why when you're building your menus, you hardly see menus on the right. You see them on the left. Okay? And that's because somebody has understood that the user is easier for them to read from the left to the right. That's why every sensible information or every important information should be on the left. So if you even look at Microsoft Office here, you see that this information is on the left. Exactly my point. All right? Then your empathy is very important. These are the requirements of being a leader using for product management. Leadership skills you have to have empathy. So a developer says, oh, he just lost someone, and then you're like, that's not my concern, just go ahead with my work and get it done. Or he says he's purging, even though I know that in Nigeria we abuse that anyways, but yeah, he's purging. Recommend a solution to him. Go and take Imodium. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't make it look like as if you are not authoritarian. Be considerate, have empathy for the people that are working with you. That's when you'll be able to influence them better. They'll be able to sacrifice their time. I'm sure some of us stayed maybe in our various working places, or for those of us that don't even have working places yet, you understand, we sacrifice some things for some certain people, not because we want to, but because we need to. Because those people have influenced us in such a way that I cannot disappoint this person. And then you walk around the clock to ensure that this product comes to life without being forced to do so. I'm sure some of the developers on the call, there are nights where you just be, when you're sleeping, you're just thinking of how I'm going to solve this problem that has come up. How am I going to solve the problem? How am I going to solve this bug that sprung up within the UAT sessions? You understand? Things like that. Then you being able to think long, your strategy, being able to think about the entire picture. as a product man is very key. Then being able to be adaptable. Changes can come at any time. That's why the most go-to methodology that you need to adopt is agile. If you don't understand what agile is as of today, go and take a course on it. It's important because that's what is shaping the face of the world today when it comes to technology, as it were. Go and spend some time reading materials on agile. Agile is a methodology. Scrum is a framework, right? Guidelines towards agile methodologies. All right. That being said, management requirements, on the other hand, being able to manage projects, right? Being able to manage projects. I'm sure you're looking and say, why is it product? Why is it not product management? It's project, because every product runs within a project. All right, it's termed to be seen as a project, right? Even though you're building a product. All right, and then being able to see the development end to end, understanding. You don't necessarily have to understand code lines. You just need to understand how to work with the person that does. Do you understand? And you being able to have like a glossary or a data dictionary, right, is important when you are documenting things, so that the terminologies that developers, because they like to flaunt all these terminologies, so that you would think that it is a lot of work. It's not a lot of work for them. They just use those terminologies to scare you and this API integration, it is a lot of work. You understand? Whereas it's just a script that they just need to API documentation that they need to share with people, and they need to add it into it and then test. They can do it in a matter of hours. In fact, the testing, as it were. Okay? So then building teams, your ability to be able to build teams, to bring several teams together, is very, very important. Okay, is somebody messaging me? All right. Okay. All right. I could proceed. Okay, I heard the buzzer again.
Please, what's the meaning of KPI?
Say that again, please.
What's the meaning of KPI? KPI.
KPI.
Yes.
API, application programming interface.
Exactly. Oh, I thought you were saying KPI. All right. Yes. Application program interface. So it's more or less like a documentation that, or rather script. I don't know whether I should go into script again. Okay. So like a script that you will get from let me see, how would I put this in clearer terms? It's a script. I don't know how to break it down further, but it's a script that helps you connect with another. So you have two applications, right, that are connecting with each other through the help of the API script. So the script is looking at the data source from one solution and pointing it to the data source of another solution. So that two of those solutions can talk to each other, right? So, and it's a script. So I'm not a technical person, again, so I don't want to bore you with that information, but technical people understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's
Okay, so can I just like say something so that maybe it will be more relatable to her or something?
okay.
So API, just picture it as we have a lot of websites, and you discover that some of these websites, they have like payment platform that are integrated to it. Jumia is not the owner of, maybe if you see Paystack on Jumia or Flutterwave payments coming up. So how were they able to? So Flutterwave on its own is another application entirely. So how were they able to connect with Flutterwave so that, okay, this is the application that we offer, this is what we offer on this platform, but now we want people to be able to pay. You don't have to build it on your own from scratch. You can just plug into their API and integrate it. I don't know if that will help anyway.
Okay, check. Oh, she said it helps. Great, great. So, anyways, I think okay. Uh, sorry, sorry, Rafiat. Please, apologies. I have that. Anyways, okay. But Babajide was talking about something on the chat box where he's made it clear. If you patience is very key. Your understanding to be able to not force people, but be able to listen. There are other requirements, right? Trust me, there are other requirements. Well, patience is another one. Patience is another one. To be able to be patient enough to listen, right? Business analysis body of knowledge talks about that. It says your communication skills, your listening skills is important. Communication skills, your listening skills, very, very important. Do you understand? It's very, very important that you learn to listen when people are talking. All right. Better still, maybe because some people have multiple engagements from time to time, you know, you could record the session and tell the person, okay, I will get back to you once I have a full grasp of the entire picture, and I will have another revalidation of the requirement that I have gathered so far. Right? It's important. Okay. All right. So um, leading cross-functionals is very important. Team building is very important. Like I've said, being able to know when to bring a resource on board is very important too as well. Right? Some people say, if I ask a question, when do you bring a tester on into a project or a product um, roadmap? When do you bring a tester, for instance? Let's just use that as, let me see on the chat box. When do you bring a tester in the project, into a project? Anybody? When you have an MVP. Okay. Yes, you're right. Don't worry. But MVP, for those of you that don't know, most viable product or most valuable or most viable product. So when you're building piecemeals, right? Remember the WhatsApp use case that I talked about? If everybody had waited for WhatsApp to finish to get to this point, nobody will have used WhatsApp. We'll still be trying to decipher all the features on it, right? Um, okay. Yes, a tester. When you bring a tester, Samuel says product launch. Okay. I slightly disagree, but before the product launch, yeah, well, yeah, okay, but when you have a prototype, okay, close, Babajide. Um, during development, okay. So now, based on all these various various responses towards the end of the project, right, or product, probably staging environment. That's the test environment. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. That being said, do you know that the testers are supposed to test your requirement document? Do you agree? Because they are part of the people that would ensure whether this project or product is feasible in the first place. Yes. And because they need to understand how the product also is. The business analyst, is it so it's at the inception? At the inception, these people are very important people. The testers, the business analyst, at the inception, It's not just the product managers and the product owners that have the conversation, then they now comes and pours it out. Because that's where a lot of gaps would be missing, and it would be brought. Because him being able to understand it from the product owner is only going to be on one side, looking at it from his own experience that he has gathered, not necessarily from the experience of these other people that have an understanding of systems, as it were. Your developer might not necessarily be from the inception, but from the prototyping part. The developer is key to bring in, because at that point in time, he already now sees, okay, this is what I'm supposed to build. Do we have the expertise? Do I have the ability to be able to meet up with this? You as the product manager, you're interfacing, and I like the definition that somebody said, you are the one interacting with the business, the users, and the process or the product itself. Yes, you being able to interface these, carry these things through all of these stakeholders, and ensuring that everybody has the understanding of what it means to be done when you're building a product. Then the various phases, right? The various phases, that's important. Being able, so you need all these people to be able to be in the loop of things from the onset. But in reality, a lot of organizations, they don't see the need to. Okay? But that's the ideal state. They don't see the need because it costs them. It comes at a cost to be able to bring these two very important people, QAs and the testers and the business analysts, from the inception of the product development cycle down to the launch of the product, because they, at every point in time, they ensure that you are meeting the needs. The business analyst is looking at it from the requirement, transitioning it to the design, and is ensuring that everything that is being developed is meeting with the expected turnout. The QA is ensuring that for every requirement that is going to be developed, he is testing the document first to see whether it's going to be feasible in that environment. The specification, the product specification, the product, whether these things are available and on ground. Okay, these things are very, very important. Very, 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 very important. Okay, it's important that you bring them on board. But again, if your organization doesn't agree to that, my brother, my sister, please agree, move along with the line of your business. All right, but that's the ideal thing. What I do in cases like that, when I have developed my requirements, I share a copy with the testers. As a matter of fact, for every signage on my document, the QA must sign before I agree that this solution has been properly validated. The QA is part of the people who will sign the BRD. The QA is part of the people that will sign the functional requirement document. They are two separate documents. The scope of work could be done and signed, that's your charter. It's done by the project manager, the product owner, the product sponsor. Right? It's signed off by these people. But however, the other documents has to be the BA and the QA must sign to ensure that the full understanding of these particular requirements is done. All right. I don't want to, let me move on to what I'm going on through. Right. So being able to prioritize effectively, right? Risk management, identify risk. So we have different documentation and there are templates for these things, right? So I talked about business impact assessment. That feeds into your risk assessment, right? So business impact assessment feeds into your risk assessment documentation to be able to know if there is a possible outcome or failure or that might occur within the product development. Okay, all right. So you being able to identify these things is important, and then not just identifying it, addressing these risks. Okay, then being data driven and then accountable to take ownership for every one of your that can't be overemphasized. Developing matrix that will help you track these things, right? Some of us have those of us that use tools and systems, you have your product backlogs and things like that where you use your what they call it now, some let me pick up a tool, Azure DevOps. Now, for instance, you have your use case, your user scenarios, and then you also have your what do you call it, the certain things that you will track by. That's the matrix that you track by, right? However, you could also, if you don't have those tools, you could use Microsoft products or projects that helps you track and creates like a metric for you inside of these things, right? There are other tracking tools that helps you track your metrics for your data and things like that. So it's important that you are looking at it. Power BI helps you transform that data into visual representations for these things as well, right? So that being said, I'll move on to the next one. So there are various tools in various categories, right? Various tools in various categories. Um, um, let me see. Let me see. Do you want us to have like a 5 minutes break so that we can come back? Because I know that a lot of people might be overloaded with the information. Please let me know. If not, I'll just carry on. Let me know by show of emoji, please. Okay, I think I'm well time. Okay, so I think everybody is okay with moving on. All right, so and I can share this material with you, share it with Shegun, and Shegun can share it with you, everyone that joined. Right, so these are the various tools that are in place. Now, don't just look at all of these things and say, okay, what are all of these things? These are just different categories. Integrated development environments, that's your Visual Studios, IntelliJ, Idea Framework tool as well. Eclipse is another great tool as well. Um, and for helping you understand and test your codes and the bug issues that might possibly occur. I'm sure the developer amongst us would understand these things too as well. Version controls, your GitHub and SVN for code management and collaboration. Sorry, let me see. 1 second, please. Yeah, okay. So then project management tools, Jira, Trello, Asana. Asana is one great tool too as well. But they all look similar because everybody understands the essence for tracking using Kanban boards and visual representations of your respective to-do list and things like that. These are great tools. And the one that you can get free is Trello. The one that you probably have to pay, will probably give you 1 month subscription, is Asana and Jira. You understand, but they are fantastic tools. They help you track your project as it were. So if you don't have anyone So another testing and quality assurance tool for those of us that want to go into keyways, right? Selenium and then J unit, sorry, then test wheels. Those are things that you can help you. All you just need to do is put in your URL and it will help you test these things, as it were, to be able to find out if there are any bugs, if there are any um, open ports within your code and things like that, where that it can be easily hackable and things like that. Then collaboration tools to be able to collaborate within respective teams, Slack, Microsoft Teams, right? Things I heard one time that a lot of people are still using Skype for business. I don't know whether that Skype for business is still in support with Microsoft, but I think Microsoft Teams is their go-to tool that they use for collaboration. Some of these project management tools also, Trello also helps with collaboration, right? Even though it's within the line of the project and things as it were, but or the tasks that you have listed out, but they help also with collaborations. But Slack is another collaboration fantastic tool that helps you. And then we check all of that. We are going through the internet very shortly. Then database management systems, MySQL, Postgre, right? MongoDB. Those are for data storages and things like that. Oracle is part of it. Oracle, I just don't want to put all the list. There are a lot. Oracle is there as well. Postgre is another one, even though it, most of this open source use Postgre because of it doesn't really have license. Doesn't There are some licenses that um, are free for people to use in there, right? Then continuous integration and continuous development, right? Jenkins and Travis, right? Those are tools that can help you to um, integrate properly. Then cloud services, AWS, right? Azure, Google Cloud also helps for, um, and I'll explain in just so. I'm sure most of us have been hearing cloud implementation, cloud infrastructure, cloud architecture. Do you understand? So these bodies have uh, their own platforms, right? Where they create platform as a service, software as a service, and things like that on the platform. So you can do scalable databases directly from the cloud, as it were, right? So and then containerization and orchestration, right? Tools. So those of us that are developers, Docker and then Kubernetes for deploying and managing applications. These are just tools that, and I can share a bit more. So I don't know. Okay, I think I missed out one. Prototyping. There are several prototyping tools. UI UX prototyping tools that can be used for that as well. I'm trying to remember one for the UI UX. Before the end of the session, I would remember. Um, but
Miro,
say that again.
Miro.
Miro is more or less, it could be used
Yes,
as a
I've read.
conceptualization,
Yeah.
right, for um, your workspace. So you can create different entities of interfaces and how it is linked to each other directly, and then you can show the roadmap within that mirror. However, but primarily it's mainly for creating roadmaps within that. But um, um, okay, why is it skipping my mind? So there are tools like Mockup Tigers for prototyping, Mockup Tiger, um, Pencil. We have different. There are a lot, and trust me. Um, okay, I'll get to it. Don't worry, we'll get to them. That being said, I'm trying to quickly wrap up with this. Then technologies that you need to be aware of: prototyping, Agile and Scrum, DevOps, development and operations joined together, DevOps, right? Right, and being able to manage your projects in these platforms too as well is very important. Test-driven development, DevOps helps you with that. To as you are putting your codes into the repo, you could test directly before pushing it to production, things like that. Again, continuous integration, code reviews, being able to test and ensure that everyone has an aligned code structure or code line structure within, so that at least if developers, since we're having a large churn out of resources nowadays, we whoever comes into to take up these responsibilities have an understanding um, based on the patterns and the structure at which you manage your codes to as well. Then user-centered designs, and then sprint planning, then documentation cannot be overemphasized. Cannot be overemphasized. Your documentation is, and I'll show you one diagram. It's called swing tree. Some of us must have seen it in time past, but I'll show you how documentation is very important to the success of a product development life cycle. Do you understand? And for a product to be reusable, you need your documentation. Your documentation is very, very important. In fact, have a catalog of documentations for each project as you move along. Make it a best practice for you. All right? It's important that you make it a best practice for you. All right? That being said, there are many opportunities that you can come up with for product managers, you being able to innovate. And now the opportunities are not necessarily tailored towards getting a job, but these will make you very, 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 what's the word? If you have these skill sets, this will bring about, um, is it, you will be easily searched for, but you will be needed in the market, as it were. You being able to create and be innovative with your products, you know, problem solving, collaborations, leadership. I've talked about all of these things. Your entrepreneurial skills, your financial rewards. These are the opportunities you can build upon each and every one of these points, these 10 points that I've listed here, right? You being able to create ideas for people, you can sell these things as a service. You being able to provide solutions for organizations, as it were. You being able to work with several teams, and being able to lead different teams too as well. Because you are in demand, the financial reward is enormous. If you go online today, as it were, go and search for salaries for product managers as at today. Let's start with Nigeria before we even go internationally. When you go internationally, you'll be mind blown. There's a lot of financial reward from just being a product manager. You are sought after because everybody needs a product manager. Everybody needs a product manager. Even to the extent that my wife today says, "Oh, Toby, build a product for me for my business." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm not a developer. Come on." And things like that. But everybody does, right? Everybody does. Okay. So it's important. It's cuts across the various continents and everybody is in need of a product manager. I've gotten people reach out to me to come and work in India. I had to turn out because of the language barrier. It's because I don't want a situation whereby we are not collaborating in the actual sense of the, as it were. Do you understand? And so most of them will say, okay, we'll get back to you, things like that. So it's important that it's a role that is in demand. And then it helps you to continually learn as you go on, because there are no two products, even though they are similar, but people build them differently. And as the more products you work on as you go on, the more better you become in developing products. Okay, I think I'm out of time. So let me just say the last things, right? You gain relevant products, the career. This is not the roadmap, and I will show you the roadmap. You can just use Google to do that, right? But you will gain relevant skills in technology, communication, and data analysis and leadership. Build experience. I'm trying not to go technical now, right? Build experience in related roles and personal projects, right? Network and seek mentorship. Consider online courses and certification. These are my own recommendations, anyways, because there are several areas you can be relevant to. So, right, create a portfolio that showcases your work. Right, tailor your job searches and prepare for interviews, and then stay updated and persistent. These are my own recommendations to you. Right, that's all for me. I will just quickly, for those of us that to answer the questions of certification, you can use IIBA certification, product ownership, right? You could do just by searching that, even just by going on Google here, just do product management certifications. You know, this is another fantastic body that deals with all of these, right? Putting all of these things in there, it's important, very, very, very important. So like I said, as easy as product management roadmap, right? Product management roadmap. Let me see which one. No, not the product roadmap. Product management. Product roadmap. Product management roadmap for. Let me see whether there are some in here. So it's just going to only pick them from that. Let me just add one, maybe to narrow down my search. All right, better. So this is a career path for product managers. All right. So you see here, associate product manager, senior product manager, director of products, VP of product, and then chief. That's on one hand. Let me see. Career path. Okay. So it's huge. There are different areas that you can set across. If you want to do requirements, so if you want to do career path, or let me say accelerator. Don't want to see this. So you see that there are various ways that and things that you could do. You could be a lead, you could be a group manager, things like that. But the most important part for you is to be able to understand the dependencies for product managers. Let me do the one I talked about. That's product manager, manager salary. Let me water your appetite in Canada. But everybody likes to see that. Can you see the can you see? $91,000. $91,000. Or probably $92,000. That's the minimum average. An average. It can go up to 149, 149. And then you can get up to 76 per hour. That's huge. Huge. Okay? So you can't overemphasize your importance, right? Importance in these areas. And if I keep scrolling down, you see the different price ranges. This is in Canadian dollars, right? This is in Canadian dollars. This is in dollars. Toronto 139. Very important. So it's important that you know that this is a high in demand skill set for you to be able to know. It's a high in demand skill set for you. It's a high skill set in demand for you. Hold on one second, please. All right. So, I believe I've been able to convince you that it's important that you need to know these things, and let me do something that interests you. Knowledge area. So this is how you find out information for yourself. So, and this is another skill set as a product manager to be able to do research. Right? What are the top level product manager skills? Can you see it? Critical thinking, business savvy, being ability to analyze and interpret data, research skills, problem solving, ability to prioritize, strategic thinking, storytelling. Okay? So your soft skills, there's several things that you need to know. Okay? In business analysis, they tell you that there are 50 techniques. 50 techniques. Business analysis. 50 techniques that you should know. 50 of them. We can't overemphasize these things. We can't overemphasize these things. And I'm not here to scare any one of you, right? It's important that you understand that knowledge is key. Knowledge is key for you. So, can you see them? Acceptance criteria, backlog management, balance scorecard, benchmarking, market analysis, brainstorming, business capabilities analysis, business case, business model canvas, business rule analysis, collaborative games, data dictionary, data flow diagrams, data mining, data modeling, decision analysis, decision modeling, document analysis, estimation, financial analysis. The list is long. The list is long. The list is long. So continuous learning is very important. Remember the things that are opportunities that continuous learning. Remember, continuous learning. Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone. I don't know if you have questions. We could get off mic and then off mute. Sorry, and then we could ask direct questions, and I could then guide you along the line. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shagan, please.
All right, thank you very much for this wonderful session. I think they've had like enough dose what product management is really all about, and just to show to show an appreciation, please can we drop in the comment section what we actually learned today and how thrilled and excited we are for the things that have been taught so far in this training. So I will expect that to come up in the comment section. So I'm expecting that in the comment section. Thank you so much. This was so insightful. This is the most insightful session on PM I ever attended. Amazing, amazing. Wow, that's very, very, very big. And I can say this was very, very deep. Someone said, I like the way you teach. This is my major take home from the class. You are so calm. I sent a request on LinkedIn to connect with you. All the best, sir.
So that
I'm quite amazed with this. I'm amazed with this feedback that I am actually getting. My take home from this is continuous learning is key. Yeah, for a PM, trust me, you keep learning. In fact, some of the things I'm also a PM, and some of the things that he has mentioned today, I've learned a lot from it as well. That's not even the only thing. I mean, you need to keep learning day in, day out as a PM. So learning can never be overemphasized and cannot be downplayed as well. Yeah, from Chipindu, she mentioned that she's appreciative for the training and she's excited. All right, so for tomorrow, we just have an hour session, and I have one or two things to share with you of getting stakeholders on board. What's the importance of getting stakeholders on board? Okay, I think your question might need to be a bit better structured, but it's going to do justice to that soon. So tomorrow's session comes up by 6 p.m. and it's just an hour, and I will enjoy you to join in as fast as possible as we are going to keep to that 1 hour time frame so that because we believe you're preparing for work for Monday. All right. So someone just asked this question. Please, what's the importance of getting stakeholders on board? And we can call it a day after this question. Thank you, sir.
okay, very, very quickly. That's Akinsonya Bolarinwa. Okay. So um the importance of getting all stakeholders on board, if that's what you mean, right, is so that you wouldn't have a rework on your product development. In the sense that, let me give you a typical example. I managed a product development circle where a cycle rather, where the documentations were done abruptly. I was brought on board because it was already failing, right? And my first go-to conversation was, where is the business documentation for this product development, right? And then from the onset, they just felt, oh, since it's an agile implementation, there is no need for documentation, all right? And that's where they got it all wrong, because as they moved on, as in along the line, they realized that they kept disagreeing and agreeing on what is attainable for the product development. And it now lingered for quite a bit of time because that is because the right stakeholders were not there. The right stakeholders were not there. So, in other words, so my question to you is, do you know the type of stakeholders that you need to bring on board? Do you know the type of stakeholders you need to bring on board? Because for that's your job as a PM, a product manager, to be able to understand um, the stakeholders that will be required, the stakeholders that will be required for every engagement. Let me explain this to you. Um, let me share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. I'll just go online. Yes, I remember that I said I was going to share you something. Um, Let me just type swing tree for product management. Let's see whether it will bring it out for specific to that. Yeah. Like while that is loading, let me go to there's something called mind mapping. Mind mapping. Mind mapping tools help you to centralize your thoughts, right? An example of a mind map is this. Let me show you that very quickly. So see something like this. Having your thoughts in the center, what the idea is, right? Okay, what the idea is. So I'll show you, I'll give you a bit of some of these things in the chart now. But mind map helps you to centralize your thoughts. Now, identifying for the product now, your product name will be in here. Then your whatever feature that you have and the respective stakeholders that will be required. Example, an HRMS. HRMS is a solution for HR, right? So HRMS says, what are the features of an HRMS solution? There is timesheet, there's leave management, there's payroll, there's um, let me see, appraisal, there's appraisal, there's so these. Let me just pick those four: leave management, timesheet, and payroll, and then appraisal. Do you know that in that HR department alone, there are respective people that manages these core functions in this in and even though you are building one solution. So imagine you building a solution where these four things are called into, and you don't have any stakeholder that understands the company or the organization's core process for these four items. Let me remove timesheets and put performance management. Yes, I remove timesheet and put performance. So performance, leave, appraisal, and payroll. If you don't have the core person, core stakeholder that understands each of these core processes in HR, you know that whatever you're going to build is already a failure from the onset. And so that's why I'm saying that, you for payroll, you being able to understand all the deductions that are involved in it, how you calculate it, how you calculate the gross from all the respective deductions, the things that has to come up, and what your benefits are. Then your performance is what the KPIs are, how it's set, how do you track it, who are the line managers that need to be involved when you're creating the performance management. All right. Having that understanding of it is key. Leave management, you being able to know what it entails, the policies that are in place that by the organization, how for the different cadres of people within the organization. You being able to do that is key, and you need somebody that is working within that space. Recruitment is another one. There are people that are in charge of these processes that needs to be involved in your stakeholders collaboration. Same, that's for the business side. Then for the developers, do we have people, the people that are the development team that will be working with you, as in vis-a-vis the respective tasks that are involved in this? You being able to pinpoint each and every one of those things is very, 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 very important. Okay? So I hope I was able to answer your question. All right. So if you want to find out, or you want to have a mind mapping tool, Mind Manager is a great tool for you. Mind Manager is a great tool for you to help you do your mind mapping, right? For business process, you have business process, you have Visio. Visio is another one. Visio is a good process mapping tool that can help you. Prototyping now. Prototyping tool. Prototyping. Sorry, I forgot to do this. That's why I'm doing it now. Prototyping tool. All right. So prototyping tool, let's see. Maybe I will remember the one. I can see the one I wanted to remember that time. Prototyping tool. Yes, Figma. That's what I wanted to remember. Figma. Figma is the tool that we use in our organization to make prototyping. It brings things to life. It has all the stencils that are needed. InVision is another great tool. Adobe XD, even though you need the Adobe license to be able to use this, but yeah, it's a great tool. Webflow, all right, Axiore or Axure, right? Origami, Just in Mind, Sketch is another great tool. Very, but there's one tool that they usually don't put there, and there are tools. Draw.io is another one that is free. Draw.io is another great tool. Draw.io. Another great tool, Pencil. Pencil.evelos. Even though they are old, but yes, they still they still work well. Pencil.evelos. This one here. Pencil.evelos. Which other ones? That Figma, please download it if you can. Download the Figma. It's very important. Yes, Balsamic. Balsamic is another one, but it's very complicated. But that's why I'm sure that's why it's on the 14th. Very complicated, but fantastic too for wireframes and all of those things. It's very fantastic. Right? So all these tools, that's how you find out this information. You can't cram all these things on your own. You can't. Right? So those are for tools. What other thing? Business process reengineering. Let me see. Business process reengineering tools. All right. There are tons and tons of things that you can use. Tons and tons of things that you could use to be able to help you come up with these great things. Right. There are strategic tools. Business model canvas. That's a beautiful tool that can help you bring the concept to life. Business model canvas. That's where you have idea framework. Microsoft Idea Framework speaks a lot about that, right? Value proposition, business model canvas, right? Having 9 concepts in there for you to track. If you're a business owner, you need this tool. You need to fill in all the questions that it's going to ask you. It's very good. It's done by Strategizer, sorry. So very fantastic tool as well. Okay, so And this, when you capture all of these things, it helps you to know which stakeholder you would bring on board. You as the product manager needs to do this assignment based on the information that you have gotten from your product owner, right? It's important, right? It's very, very important. Okay, so yeah, I hope I was able to answer your question, and I hope I didn't give you another. Um, so yeah, Babajide, you know about Figma, right? Yes, fantastic tool. What fundamental KPIs an organization should measure in developing a new product? Well, it's relative. You can't. It's based on the type of product that you are going to. So let's see. Again, fundamental KPIs for, but the thing you need to bear in mind for product development, right? The thing you need to bear in mind is for are they four? No, there are three: people, process, and technology. People, process, and technology. You must put your KPIs inside of these three buckets. People, what is the demographic of my people within the organization? Are they tech savvy? Do they understand the solution or the product I am going to build? How are they going to be able to use it? What devices are they going to be able to plug into? How efficient are those devices going to be in? Then process. What processes am I going to put in place to ensure that these things are being achieved? The technology is the know-how of how you would implement the people's ideas and the processes that you have identified. Those three things, remember that: people, process, and technology is very, very important. But just by the Google search, so you see this here, it says quality is a KPI measure, all right? User satisfaction, defect rate, impact related measures, benefits from your product, ROIs, efficiency related KPIs. These are the things. Then, like cost, budget, utilization. Remember I talked about it. All these things, these categories come under these things. Technology, you talk about resources made available within the organization, processes, the different respective processes and how it impacts the business. Remember I talked about BIA, business impact and assessment. You must be able to do that. You must be able to do that. All right? You must have a catalog of documents. See now, these are documents here that speaks to that. Have your catalogs. So this is real work, right? People, this is real work. Real work. Okay, so real work. You can't take away you being able to assess things. You can't take away all of these things. It is real work. Okay, so that being said, Sheg, please. Apologies for taking too much time. Okay, so go ahead, please.
No problem.
I'm done. I'm done, Sheg.
Oh, wow. Anyways, I was already carried away with what you were sharing. So I was actually like also looking at that as well. So thank you everyone for joining in, and especially for those of you that were able to complete this particular training, because I think this has been a long session, but it shows that you were really following. Oh, someone wanted to do it all day. Yeah, so we would have done that, but because I believe that many of us have other things that you have to do, so which you need to get into doing. But once again, thank you very much for joining this session, and also to our amiable guests. Thank you very much. So tomorrow we meet by 6 p.m. and we'll be talking about the opportunities and how to actually get into this career that we've you know talked about and how interesting it is. Yeah, whatever questions you have as well tomorrow or that you have today that we couldn't answer, you can ask tomorrow as we get into the session of tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very interactive and showing you the way into the industry. Okay, so they want your handle on LinkedIn, so I think I can just find that now and just paste it. Okay, okay, I think I'm close to it. I just hope this is it. Okay, good. And there. So you can pick it from the chat section to follow him and as well follow Colatrek on LinkedIn. Likewise, on other social platforms that you just type Colatrek and you would see the platforms, different platforms online to get into it. Just type that online. All right, great. So follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as Twitter. Yeah, and also you can follow me as well on LinkedIn. I drop content on product management, yeah, almost every day. So just check it out and get into it. All right, it's nice having everybody on the call. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks to our amiable guests. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. Bye. And you
All right,
can get the
bye.
recording of today's session and to be up soon and shared with you all.